Hello, this is your girl Karen Fomafung. Just a very quick one here today. Please, everyone watching this video today, do me a favor to share this with your leadership. If you are an Agile practitioner, specifically Scrum practitioner, if your organization is practicing Scrum in any form or shape, please do me a favor to share this with your leadership. Very quickly today, we will be touching on some key points that if you are not doing in your organization and you say you're practicing Scrum, then you're just wasting your time. Yes, I have seen a lot of organizations, I would say 90% of organizations out there practicing Scrum are really not focusing on these things that will help them succeed with Scrum. You see, so if your organization is among these categories that I will be discussing today, please do me a favor and help your organization by just sharing this little video with them today. Thank you so much. Now, these are my 3 key things that I want to talk about. Before I get into the video, if this is your first time here, you're very welcome. As always, thank you so much. What we do here, we enlighten ourselves, continuously learn about Agile, Scrum, project development, project management, adding value to our organization, adding value to our communities, adding value to our own self. So to stay in sync with what we do here, just turn on that subscription button down below and the notification bell so you will never miss out. For our returning viewers, you are loved and you're so welcome. Thank you so much for your consistency. Now let's go straight into the point. How do you succeed with Scrum as a Scrum team? It sounds simple, but so many organizations and teams are failing or not getting or leveraging the best of this beautiful framework just because they are missing these things. The very first thing is your product backlog, the health of your product backlog. If your product backlog is not clean, if your product backlog is not healthy, if it doesn't meet the zip and the invest criteria at every point in time before getting into the sprint planning, then you will not be achieving any meaningful result or at the end of the sprint. That is number one. So it all starts from the product backlog. If your product backlog is not clean enough, if your product backlog is not healthy, then the team doesn't have a stable place where they can see the work that they are about to embark into and make a decision against that based on the quality they are looking to deliver at the end of the sprint. So if your product backlog is unhealthy, it will definitely reflect on the outcome of the work at the end of the sprint. So that's number one. A healthy product backlog is a must. This to me is non-negotiable. A lot of times you would hear teams will reduce this to the standard. We are still improving. It doesn't happen on one day. But the necessary steps that they need to take or POs need to take in order to get to that point of improving, they are not taking the steps. They just stay there and keep saying that it doesn't happen in one day. It doesn't happen in one day. But the things that they're supposed to do to get them to where they're supposed to get to, they are not doing them. So to me, I don't understand that kind of Scrum. Secondly, do you people have a complete cross-functional team, a full stack team that has all the skill set required to deliver an increment at the end of the sprint? And cross-functional to me is a team that is made up of approximately 6 to 9 people in that team that has the complete autonomy to make a decision on the how the work is supposed to be done. Does your team have that? If your team doesn't have a full stack end-to-end skill set of a team size around 6 to 9 people required to deliver that increment at the end of the sprint, and they are not autonomous enough to be able to determine the how to get to that result, then I strongly suggest that you rethink the kind of Scrum you're doing, because I believe you're missing out a whole lot on what you can truly leverage Scrum to do. The typical thing that I would hear, the typical lines that I would hear a lot of organizations or teams would say is, okay, especially on this team size issue, well, we must not always go by the books. The Scrum Guide says that, but we must not always go by the books. Let me tell you, to be honest with you, I strongly believe, right, that whatever it is in the Scrum Guide has been tried and tested. Before these founders of Scrum decided to come together, sit down and establish whatever they were able to establish and put together this nice, fine framework for us to leverage, is because they've tried things, they've tested their hypothesis, and they've been able to validate this hypothesis. And that's why they settled around this number of people in a team size of approximately 5 to 9 people. So, but you hear most organizations, because they want to, they would want you to adjust Scrum to fit into their anti-patterns, as opposed to them changing their behaviors to leverage Scrum. They will tell you that, well, if it's not causing any problem, why worry about it? Most of the time, there is no way that you have a team size above 10, in my experience, and you will not face issues around engagement. You will not face issues around commitment. You will not face issues around motivation, communication. That collaboration will not be there, because you'll be missing some communication strings. Communication will get lost in the middle of everything going on. You see? So yes, that is the second for me. If your team is not full stack with all the skill set required, approximate an appropriate team size required to get you people to a done increment at the end of the sprint, then I suggest you rethink the Scrum you're doing. Now, still under this team structuring, if your team, even if it's made up of these number of people, but it is not stable, if you don't have a stable team, then you don't know your true velocity. If you don't have a stable team, if your team is not sticky, then you do not know your true average velocity. Because anytime there is a change in team member, or there is a change among your team, you will have to start from scratch on the team formation process. You will have to start back from forming, moving all the way to storming, norming, performing. You see, so I know that real life happen in the ideal world. People tend to change, but the goal or the vision of the organization should be working towards establishing a stable team. The organization should not think that it is okay to switch team members here and there all the time. No, if that's what you're doing, then you are relying on some number, calling it average velocity. Nope, you do not know your average velocity, to be honest with you. So today I just want to be frank and be blunt. Let's just deal with this topic once and for all, because I feel like I'm so tired of working with organizations and hearing them trying to change Scrum, as opposed to them trying to change their behaviors to better leverage Scrum. You see, so I just want this to be done the right way. I just want organizations to be able to really leverage this Scrum and see what is in it for them. And I think it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy if they can, gear their mind towards wanting to do it right, as opposed to trying so hard to change Scrum in order to fit their bad habits. You see? All right, last but not the least, before I cover the last point, just as a quick reminder, that we do training, mentoring, coaching. If you're looking to be trained, start your career as a Scrum Master, trust me, anybody can do this. Anybody can do this if you have common sense, if you are passionate about helping people, if you're passionate about empowering people to discover their full potential. And then if you're good with people, and if you are a committed person, who have high integrity of doing what they say they will do, then Scrum is for you. Agile is for you. Reach out to us, go to the description box, or look right up there, get our contact information, reach out to us, and we will be glad to help you. The next training session is coming up on the 1st of March, 2022. So do not miss out. Get going, jumpstart your Agile career with us, and you just trust that you are in very good hands. And secondly, if you're in between just having a certification and struggling to land that role, reach out to us. We have a clean, nice program, which we call the level 2 program, designed to help you close that gap between just having the certification and landing that first role. Come to us and we'll help build your person. We are not talking about any framework. We'll help build your person. That way you're very effective in landing that job and be successful on the job. All right, thank you so much. Now let's address the last point. So can you, as a Scrum Master or a Scrum team in an organization, confidently tell me that at any given sprint, you have walked through delivering an increment of high quality that meets the definition of done? Can you tell me that? Truly. Can you boast that your team, have worked towards achieving an increment that meets the definition of done in high quality? That is hardly ever the case, because it all starts from the product backlog. If the product backlog is not healthy, it will affect everything else. Whatever you're doing, you're just wasting your time. You see. Secondly, if you don't have a stable, full stack team that is cross-functional enough, with less and autonomous, which means less dependency on some other external bodies, your increment will definitely be affected. So, do you have a good definition of done put in place to ensure that you're delivering done increments which is of high quality? And what I'm referring to is increments that is usable, valuable, and shippable, free of all bugs. Can you tell me that you have that? So yes, these are my 3 points for you today. In recap, you need a healthy product backlog. If your product backlog is not healthy, if it's not clean enough, then your team doesn't have that clear place to visualize the velocity that they're up against and make a decision on what they want to commit to, in order to deliver value. If your team is not full stack, if it's not stable, if they are not autonomous enough and cross-functional, then you do not know your true average velocity. You do not. If you don't have a good definition of done in place, then I should be questioning the quality that you're delivering to your customers. I hope this video was helpful. I'm just going to end here today. And again, Karen Fomafung, your Agile Evangelist. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.